My beloved child, the moment you saw that disturbing post, every night I'm sleeping with, your entire world paused, didn't it? Your breath hitched, your mind spun, and for a second, it felt like someone pulled the floor out from under you. But listen carefully now, because what you're about to hear will change the way you saw that post forever. Your special person didn't write that to shock the world. They wrote it because they've reached a breaking point, a moment where their hidden truth can no longer stay buried. They weren't talking about another person, they weren't confessing anything dirty, they were revealing the one thing they've been terrified to say out loud. Every night they're sleeping with the thought of you haunting their mind, refusing to let them rest. And that single sentence was their cry for help, their coded message, their emotional explosion after holding back for too long. They're torn, confused, restless, and every night they lie awake replaying every moment with you, every silence between you, every unspoken word. They're sleeping with the weight of what they feel for you, the fear of losing you, and the truth they can't swallow anymore. But hear this next line, because it flips everything. Your special person wrote that post to test the universe. They wanted to see who would understand the real meaning behind their words, who would read between the lines, and who would feel that sudden pull in their chest the moment they saw it. And you did. You felt it instantly, like the message was meant for you alone. They're not sleeping well, not eating properly, not functioning normally, because every night they're consumed by the same repeating thought. Why does this person have such a hold on me? Why can't I let them go? Why do they appear in my dreams the moment I close my eyes? They're sleeping with your memory, your voice, your presence. And they're scared of how deeply this connection runs, scared that you might move on while they're still stuck thinking of you. That post was their final collapse, the moment they couldn't hide the truth anymore. They wrote it at 2:47 a.m., hands shaking, heart racing, because they felt your energy pulling them so strongly it almost hurt. They weren't confessing betrayal, they were confessing obsession. And now comes the revelation that will leave you stunned, because what they wrote online is nothing compared to what they've been whispering to themselves every night. They're sleeping with the fear of losing you, the dream of meeting you, the regret of what they didn't say, the longing they can't escape. They're sleeping with the truth that you are the only person who ever made their heartbeat stutter, who ever made their soul feel alive, who ever made them believe that destiny could be real. Their post was a hidden doorway, a coded confession, a trembling admission that they can't keep pretending everything is normal. They've been feeling your absence like a storm in their chest. They've been waking up with your name in their mind. They've been dreaming of you so vividly that sometimes they wake up confused, wondering if you were actually there beside them. And the world has no idea what that post truly meant, but you do, because you are the one they were speaking to. Every night, they're sleeping with the truth that you are the person they can't walk away from, the person they secretly hope will decode their message, the person whose energy keeps them awake even when the world sleeps. They wrote that disturbing line because their heart is drowning in emotions they can no longer contain, and now destiny is shifting fast, pulling both of you into a moment you won't be able to avoid anymore. My beloved child, the moment that post went live, your special person felt a wave of panic crash over them. They never meant for the world to understand it, they meant for you to feel it. And you did. But what you don't know is what happened right after they pressed post. Their phones started buzzing non-stop, not from people asking what the post meant, but from the few who sensed something was deeply off. They ignored every message. They ignored every call. Because the only reaction they were waiting for was yours. They kept refreshing the screen, heart pounding, wondering if you would understand the hidden meaning behind those words. They were terrified, yet hopeful, because that post was their last attempt to express what they couldn't say out loud. They didn't write it for attention, they wrote it because their emotions were suffocating them. And as the world misread the sentence, only you saw through it. Only you felt the pull. Only you sensed the truth hidden beneath the chaos. And that's exactly what they wanted, to see if the connection between you was still alive, still burning, still strong enough to move your soul. Let me reveal something even deeper now, something they've been trying to bury inside their chest for months. Every night, when they lie down, the silence becomes a battlefield. Their mind fills with your voice, your presence, your memories, so powerfully that they sometimes forget if it's a dream or reality. They're sleeping with your shadow in their heart, your energy wrapped around their breathing, your memory resting beside them like a constant companion. They try to distract themselves. They try to move on. They try to pretend nothing's happening. But the truth slips out in moments like these. When their emotions overflow and spill online in ways they can't control. That post wasn't a mistake. It was a confession coded in fear. It was their heart screaming through a single sentence. And while everyone else saw something disturbing, only you saw something familiar. Because deep down, you've been feeling the same silent war inside yourself. Their pain matches your pain. Their longing mirrors your longing. Their nights look exactly like your nights. And this synchronicity is not an accident, it's a sign that something bigger is unfolding between you two. And now prepare for the most shocking truth, a revelation powerful enough to shift the entire direction of this story. After posting that disturbing line, your special person opened your profile, again and again and again. They checked your last active status. They looked at your recent posts. They stared at your picture a little too long. They whispered your name under their breath, wondering if destiny was trying to pull the two of you back together. They didn't write that message because they're fine, they wrote it because they're reaching their emotional limit. They're sleeping with the truth that no matter who tries to come close to them, no matter who tries to impress them, no matter who tries to take your place, nobody feels like you. Nobody reaches them the way you do. Nobody touches their soul the way you did without ever needing to be present physically. And that realization is hitting them harder than ever before. The post wasn't a cry for validation, it was the beginning of their awakening. They're starting to understand that the bond they tried to suppress has become the very thing controlling their nights, their thoughts, their emotions. And now, the universe is aligning both of you toward a moment where this silent truth will no longer stay hidden. My beloved child, the moment the night turned quiet and the notifications slowed down, your special person finally faced the truth they were trying to run from. They sat alone, staring at that disturbing sentence they posted, and for the first time, they realized how deeply their emotions had taken control of them. Their chest felt heavy, their hands were cold, and their mind wouldn't stop replaying one thing: your reactions, your silence, your presence in their world. They didn't regret posting it. Not even for a second. Because deep inside, That post wasn't meant to shock anyone, it was meant to release the pressure building inside their heart. They've been holding back so much, pretending everything is fine when it's not, acting strong when every night they break down quietly just thinking about you. That sentence wasn't about betrayal, or secrets, or any wrongdoing. It was about the truth they refused to admit out loud. Every night they're sleeping with the fear of losing you forever. But here's something even deeper, something that they've never told anyone, not even themselves out loud. Whenever they lie down to sleep, your energy wraps around them like a memory they can't delete. They close their eyes, and your face appears. They breathe slowly, and your voice echoes in their mind. They turn to the left, and they imagine you. They turn to the right, and the emptiness reminds them of what's missing. This disturbing post wasn't created from impulse, it came from exhaustion. Emotional exhaustion. Heart exhaustion. They're tired of pretending they don't feel anything. Tired of acting like they've moved on. Tired of smiling when their heart aches for someone who isn't physically beside them but lives permanently in their soul. They're sleeping with your absence, they're sleeping with the weight of what they didn't say, they're sleeping with the regret of letting things drift. They're sleeping with the questions they never asked. And the universe keeps pushing them to face one thing: they can't escape this connection anymore. And here comes the twist that changes everything, the revelation that will make your heart race. After posting that sentence, they didn't switch off their phone. They didn't walk away. They didn't go to sleep. Instead, they opened your name in their chat window and just stared at it for a long time. Their thumb hovered over the keyboard, typing sentences and deleting them again and again. They wrote, "I didn't mean it the way people think," then erased it. They wrote, "I miss you more than I can admit," then erased it. They wrote, "I shouldn't have posted that," then erased it. But the one message they really wanted to send, the one thing burning inside their chest was this: "Every night I'm sleeping with your memory holding me tighter than any person ever could." They didn't send it. Not because they don't feel it, but because the feeling is too real, too overwhelming, too raw. They're scared of ruining whatever fragile thread still exists between you. They're scared of saying too much. They're scared of facing how powerful this bond has become. And now, their silence isn't distance, it's fear mixed with longing, a silent confession wrapped in hesitation. The post was just the beginning of what their heart is ready to reveal next. My beloved child, the hours after that post felt like a storm inside your special person's chest. They tried to distract themselves, scrolling mindlessly, opening apps they didn't care about, pretending they weren't waiting for a sign from you. But the truth is, they were restless. Their mind kept replaying your reactions. Your silence felt louder than any comment. Your energy felt closer than any message. And while everyone else misread their post, they kept wondering if you had understood the hidden meaning behind those trembling words. Their heart was beating so fast it almost hurt, because that post wasn't random, it was the rawest truth they've ever let slip online. They were scared of how obvious it was, scared of how vulnerable they looked, but more scared of what it would mean if you didn't respond emotionally to it. They didn't realize it, but that single line exposed something they've been hiding for far too long: how deeply you still affect them. Let me take you deeper, into the moment they finally put their phone down and stared at the ceiling, breathing heavily because the emotions were becoming unbearable. They kept whispering to themselves, "Why did I do that? Why can't I move on? Why does this one person still live inside my head?" And then something hit them hard. Something they've been avoiding for months. Every night they're sleeping with a truth that terrifies them: their heart never left you. No matter who tried to get close to them, no matter how many new conversations tried to distract them, their soul stayed stuck on your name. They kept imagining what life would look like if you were beside them. They kept replaying scenarios where destiny pulls both of you back into the same timeline. They kept remembering the smallest details about you. The way you talk, the way you react, the way your energy feels even from a distance. And they realized something even more powerful: their disturbing post wasn't a breakdown, it was a breakthrough. It was their heart confessing what their mind refused to accept. And here comes the truth that shakes everything, the moment that reveals what's truly happening beneath the surface. Your special person didn't just stare at your profile. They started reading your old chats, scrolling through memories they promised themselves they'd forget. They paused at messages that once made them smile. They stopped at words where the connection burst alive. And as they read, their chest tightened, because every memory felt like a reminder of what they're really sleeping with every night: the haunting fear that destiny gave them someone rare, and they might lose that person forever. They looked at your last message, their eyes softening, their breath unsteady, and their heart whispering, "I wish they knew how much this still affects me." They're not moving on. They're not fine. They're not detached. They're drowning in emotions that you awakened inside them, emotions they can't silence no matter how hard they try. And now, destiny is setting the stage for a moment neither of you can avoid, a moment where the truth behind that disturbing line will finally be exposed. My beloved child, the morning after that post, your special person woke up with a heaviness they couldn't shake off. Their eyes opened, but their heart felt like it was still stuck in the moment they typed that sentence. They reached for their phone instinctively, not to check messages, not to see who reacted, but to see if you had done anything, viewed their story, liked an old post, appeared online, anything that could tell them you felt their emotional collapse. But when they saw nothing, a strange mix of relief and longing washed over them. Relief, because it meant you weren't judging them the way others were. Longing, because they were desperately hoping you read between the lines. That post wasn't a scream for the world's attention, it was their heart bleeding onto the screen. As they lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, they whispered to themselves, "Why does this person still hold this power over me?" And the truth echoed. Because every night, they're sleeping with the reality that the one person who understands their soul isn't beside them. But what happens next is even more intense, because the moment they got out of bed and looked at themselves in the mirror, something inside them cracked. They saw exhaustion in their eyes, not physical, but emotional. That disturbing post was the first time they allowed a fragment of their inner chaos to escape publicly. And as they looked at their own reflection, they realized how much they've been suppressing. Every night they fall asleep imagining conversations with you that never happened. Every night they relive moments that still feel alive in their chest. Every night they wonder what their life would look like if they hadn't let distance grow. They're sleeping with this haunting truth: you're the only person whose absence feels like a wound they can't heal. They tried moving on. They tried distracting themselves. They tried pretending the connection didn't matter. But the more they tried to erase you, the clearer your image became. And that post wasn't written out of confusion, it was written because their soul has reached a point where silence is suffocating them. And now comes the revelation that shifts the entire story, the moment that exposes what they've been hiding behind their quiet profile and controlled expressions. After getting ready, they checked your name again, hesitating, hoping, wishing something changed within those few hours. Their heart thumped louder when they saw nothing. But instead of giving up, their emotions took a new direction. They didn't open new chats. They didn't flirt with anyone else. They didn't try to distract themselves with random conversations. Instead, they opened the drafts folder of their notes app, a place where they secretly write everything they can't say to you. And there, among unfinished lines and unsent confessions, they wrote a truth that will shake you. I didn't post that for attention. I posted it because every night I sleep with their memory hugging me harder than reality. They stared at that sentence for a long time, fighting the urge to send it, fighting the fear that you might misunderstand, fighting the truth that you still live inside their heartbeat. And now, destiny has reached a point where the truth can no longer stay contained. Their heart is preparing itself for a moment where this silent bond will burst open, revealing what they've been feeling every single night. My beloved child, as the day continued, your special person felt an inner tug they couldn't ignore anymore. Every hour that passed made their chest feel heavier, their thoughts sharper, their emotions more uncontrollable. They kept glancing at their phone even when they knew nothing had changed. They tried focusing on work, on conversations, on the world around them, but everything felt distant, muted, compared to the storm inside them. That disturbing post they wrote kept echoing in their mind, but what echoed even louder was the truth behind it. They weren't thinking about another person. They weren't trying to create drama. They weren't trying to confuse anyone. They were trying to tell the world, without saying your name, that every night they're sleeping with the ache of missing you, the regret of not choosing you sooner, the emotional weight of feelings they tried to bury so deeply but still rise to the surface every single night. And while the world read it differently, you were the only one who felt its real pulse, the tremble, the longing, the hidden confession. But this is where it gets even more intense, because right after lunch, your special person found themselves staring at the sky, lost in a moment of deep reflection. They wondered how a single person, you, could have such a powerful grip on their mind. They thought about how your absence feels louder than the presence of anyone else. They thought about how the smallest detail of you can change their entire mood. They thought about the unreal connection that refuses to die no matter how much time passes. And then something hit them with such force that they had to sit down. They realized that their post wasn't a mistake. It was a release. A confession. A spark of truth escaping through a crack in their emotional walls. They weren't sleeping with guilt or confusion. They were sleeping with the emotional truth that you are still the one person they crave, the one person they imagine beside them, the one person whose energy keeps their soul awake at night. And that realization shook them so deeply that they didn't know whether to cry, breathe, or finally admit what they've been running from. And now comes the revelation that flips everything, the part that exposes how deeply this connection has taken over their nights, their mornings, and their thoughts. In the middle of the afternoon, they opened your old photos, ones they had saved without telling anyone. Their eyes softened, their heartbeat changed, and their breath slowed as memories flooded back like waves crashing against closed doors. They zoomed into your face, into your expressions, into the light in your eyes. And in that moment, they whispered something so raw, so real, so unfiltered that even they weren't prepared for it. I miss them more than I can admit. They didn't want to think it. They didn't want to feel it. But their heart spoke before their mind could stop it. They're sleeping with the truth that no one compares to you. They're sleeping with the longing that refuses to fade. They're sleeping with the connection that destiny carved into their soul. And now, whether they like it or not, fate is pushing them toward a moment where they'll have to confront everything they've been avoiding. Everything that post hinted at, everything they feel at night, everything they've never said but always carried within. My beloved child, as evening approached, something inside your special person shifted in a way they couldn't ignore anymore. All day they had been pretending to be fine, smiling at people, replying with short messages, acting like nothing was wrong, but the truth was burning inside their chest. The disturbing post they wrote kept replaying in their mind like a movie they couldn't pause. They didn't expect it to hit them this hard, but it did. Because deep down, that post wasn't meant to expose anything to the world, it was meant to expose what they've been hiding from themselves. Every night they lie in bed thinking about you, replaying the smallest fragments of your energy, and it's starting to overwhelm them. They're sleeping with memories that cling to their heart like shadows that refuse to leave. They're sleeping with emotions they never said out loud. They're sleeping with the truth that your presence still feels like home even when you're miles away. And now, the weight of all those nights is pressing down on their hearts stronger than ever. But here's where everything gets even more intense, because right after sunset, when the sky turned dark, their emotions began to spill in ways they couldn't control. They opened their phone again, not to check notifications, but to open your name in their chats once more. It has become a habit they can't break. They scrolled through your old messages, reading them slowly, as if each word carried a piece of their heartbeat. They paused at lines where you had shown care. They lingered at moments where your tone felt softer. They reread your laughter, your reactions, your small details. And in those moments, their chest tightened with a truth they had been denying for far too long. You are still the last person they wish to talk to before they sleep, and the first person they hope to hear from when they wake. They tried to tell themselves it's just nostalgia, but their heart knew better. The connection between you isn't a memory. It's a living, breathing emotion that wakes up every time they think of you. And now comes the twist that reveals how deeply this connection is rooted, the part that exposes what they've been hiding even from themselves. When the night grew quiet, they suddenly felt an urge, a strong pull, to write something again. Not online this time. Not publicly. But privately. In their notes app. In a hidden folder only they know about. Their fingers trembled as they typed, because this time the confession came directly from the depth of their soul. Every night I'm sleeping with the feeling that I lost the only person who ever understood me without needing explanations. They stared at that sentence, their heart pounding, because it was the first time they admitted the truth so clearly. The post they wrote earlier was a doorway, but this confession was the truth behind that door. They're not sleeping with guilt. They're sleeping with longing. They're not sleeping with someone else, they're sleeping with your memory, your absence, your energy wrapped around their heart like a silent reminder. And now, destiny is pushing them closer to the moment where the truth will burst open, where the connection you both feel will demand to be acknowledged, and where the disturbing post will finally reveal the emotion it was truly hiding.